Hey guys, here's Torsten, back within full effect. And today, as promised, my review of the LG 34UC89G-B. It's a nice model name. And I want to give you today a little bit of an overview of the monitor and discuss if it's good. You've already see it's set up on my desk and everything is cable managed. So it means this is my new daily driver. And I want to give you the reason why I chose to replace my Asus 24.5 inch monitor, 240 Hz refresh rate with this bad boy over here. And obviously, if you talk about this monitor, and just to give you an overview of the specs, so it has a resolution of 2560 by 1080p, it is 34 inch, an IPS panel, G-Sync, and has a 5 millisecond response time. So just, based on those specs, there are a few things that need to be discussed. First of all, this resolution, the 1080p resolution in height for a 34-inch monitor. I know a lot of you reviewers who review such a monitor with such a resolution bring up the point as a negative and say that for such a size it would be better to have a 1440p resolution, and I disagree. First of all, I disagree specifically for gamers, and I also disagree when it comes to content creators to some degree. Obviously, a higher resolution can be of some advantage, but from my perspective or from my experience, even content creation, when it comes to video editing, the 1080p resolution, 2560 by 1080p, is enough in my experience. I don't really see a reason why you need a higher resolution for Adobe Premiere. You get a little bit more buttons, etc. on the screen, but it is not to a degree where the 1080p is not enough. I really don't have any deficit. I don't really feel any disadvantage when working on such a monitor. I could even work on a normal 16:9 monitor with a 1080p resolution, no problem. And so for me, of course it's personal preference, but I have a feeling there is some kind of psychological voodoo in that argument, because I don't really see any pixel from a normal distance with this monitor. It looks completely fine. The picture quality looks amazing, especially since it's an IPS panel. So even for content creation, like I said, this is a great monitor. And then for gaming, when you talk about 144 Hz refresh rate and you have a monitor with a 3440 by 1440 resolution, there are not many systems that can run such a resolution at a high frame rate, 100 Hz or more. We are talking about some medium settings, etc. Unless you go, really high end, and I'm talking SLI, 1080 Ti, etc., you will not get the bang for your buck or the refresh rate, especially if you're playing on a kind of competitive level. I'm not really a pro gamer, but I do play tournaments once in a while, and I don't see any reason why I want a 1440p monitor. You don't really see more details so much, and just the higher refresh rate, like I said, or the higher FPS you're getting out of your machine because of the slightly lower resolution, is definitely an advantage for a gamer, in my opinion. And like I said, the IPS panel also adds to a great picture quality, and this is something some people, I think, might be kind of neglecting, because obviously if you compare such a monitor with a TN panel, a TN panel has a lower response time, which is in theory better, but then the picture looks definitely more washed out. The colors are not as vibrant and the blacks are not as deep. And I think especially for FPS shooters, this can be an advantage to some degree, because in dark scenes you see more details, and the overall picture quality helps you to see things better, especially if you're playing games maybe like PUBG. And this monitor also comes with a functionality that increases or brightens the dark or the shadows in games. So in that case you can see enemies better in dark environments. And this is definitely something that helps you in games. Just think about a game like Battlefront. When you play the levels on Endor, there are often some areas which are quite dark, and then if you have the stormtroopers with the black armor, it's difficult to see them, and with this functionality it is a little bit better. You can also project a crosshair on the screen, which is a little bit borderline the question if it's really legal in games, but I'll leave that up to you guys. It's definitely a point worth discussing, I think. And then of course the next point we need to discuss is the response time. In general, we have the 144 Hz refresh rate and a 5 millisecond response time versus another extreme like the Asus, which comes with a 1 millisecond response time and 240 Hz. So I did say in my last video when I reviewed or compared the 204 Hz monitor from BenQ and Asus that I do feel the difference between 144 Hz and 240 Hz, and I still stand by that result, but I do have to say, right, it depends a little bit on the monitor you're using. And in this case, people probably who play very competitively FPS shooters, they might be worried if they get any disadvantage with such a monitor. What you need to keep in mind is that you have more real estate, so you see more of the picture on your right and left. So this, on the other hand, brings you an advantage. Of course, I'm jumping, to a different point now. But if you weigh the cons and pros of the, more real estate versus maybe a little bit less response time or slower response time and a lower refresh rate, I think the refresh rate, the responsiveness of the game, first of all, it depends on the game, because there are a lot of games that are capped in terms of the FPS. The DICE titles, for instance, Battlefield 1 and Battlefront, they are capped at 200 FPS. So no matter what rig you're running, you're never gonna get more than 200 frames out of a game like Battlefront. And then if you have a game like PUBG, you will not definitely, because the game doesn't run as smoothly, or the engine, there's something different. It never feels as responsive, no matter what resolution you're running, as responsive as a game like, let's say, Battlefield or CSGO. You will never get that out of PUBG, and the 240 Hz monitor doesn't help you there. So running this game on a 144 Hz monitor versus a 244 Hz monitor, there's no difference. If we talk about games like Battlefront or CSGO, maybe I feel a difference. I don't know anymore, honestly speaking. Like I said in my video of the comparison of the 240 Hz monitors, we're entering a realm where even pro players, in my opinion, even if they feel a difference in side-to-side comparison, which I think I do, in-game it doesn't matter. I would go so far to say that even if pro players, you switch the refresh rate down to 144 Hz, in-game, they wouldn't notice. So there's a theoretical advantage, but like I said, no. 60 versus 144 Hz, yes, definitely a game changer. 144 to 240 Hz, no, there's no difference. No difference in terms of performance, game-changing performance. So keep that in mind. But I'm going a lot into the comparison to 240 Hz. But I think this is something that a lot of people will consider when buying such a monitor, because this is definitely a monitor with this resolution that might be preferred by gamers. Content creators might rather go for the higher resolution, and if you're a gamer, I can highly recommend this monitor. Within the last 2 years, I probably had 10 to 12 different monitors, from very high refresh rates of like 240 Hz to like big monitors, ultra widescreen monitors. And this is my favorite monitor of all the monitors I've tested. So if you are considering a new gaming monitor, ask me in the comment section if you think why I prefer this monitor over any of the other monitors. Like I said, the real estate is amazing and the picture quality with the IPS panel is great. So I do love this monitor, and I can see myself not changing monitors for quite a while now. And so if you might see, you know, my desk changes all the time. I just gave you a desk tour the other day, and now everything is different again. I'll probably do an updated desk tour video there. But guys, yes, that was my review of the LG. I hope you liked my review, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to attract some attention, and maybe you even subscribe. And either way, I hope I see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys.